Hi all, and welcome to episode 3 of Enemy Within for DCS World in the A-10C2. So the brief for this mission is really quite straightforward. We just need to do an overflight of a crowded stadium at exactly noon local time, just really as a hearts and minds publicity stunt thing. Again, our group of A-10s is mostly here just to boost local morale rather than really do any damage. And then we just join in with a Georgian Air Force jet who's going to take us for a bit of a tour around northern Georgia over the enemy-controlled CLA-dominated territory there, just to get a bit of an idea of the lay of the land. So, definitely seems simple. Foreboding, foreboding. As for our armament, we are even more lightly armed this time. We just have the 2 rocket pods, one with HE rockets, one with heat rockets. We've got a targeting pod, a single sidewinder, and of course our good old friend, the GAU, with its 1,150 rounds. So the first part of the mission is really just flying over there, some voice stabs going backwards and forwards, really not too much there. So let's jump into when we're just on approach to the stadium. So here we are approaching the stadium in Tbilisi. So I punched in the time on target into the CDU, and so nicely then it gives you the desired range on the left there, or desired speed on the left there, and time to go and your deviation on the lower right. So I'm just trying to match the target speed with my actual speed in the top left, just to try and get us there as close as possible. We're told that we need to be there exactly 12 local time. I don't know how accurate we need to be, but I was told off for being very slightly slow at the last point, so I'm trying to do my best here.
Altitude, altitude.
Because we need to stay under 750 feet for the overflight, and so the computer's going to be shouting at us. And then I just brake and turn towards the next waypoint.
That flight, Beholder. Good work. People love you.
So, that's part 1 done. We then get our escort, who's lagging well behind, and we fly over the countryside, kind of doubting that the A-10s are really suited to this, if this is the terrain we're going to be fighting in. The CLA are a mountainous region, not really the best for planes, and before long, one of our wing spots something going on a nearby village. So I put in the communication, put in the coordinates, and turn towards it. And here we can see we're just getting this visual here. You can see some troops there lined up. And once that tree moves out the way, I call it in.
Okay, Dodge 1-1's tally on a group of foot mobiles holding 4 people in Georgian uniforms against a wall. The Tangos are raising their weapons and taking aim. There's also an APC and Cobra close by. Gunner's wearing a Georgian uniform but is also aiming at the soldiers. They started shooting. This is an execution.
You bastards. Do you see any other forces in the area?
A couple of SUVs and some trucks, and there's some more foot mobiles with rifles.
White Wireless, be in contact with superiors.
Overlord, Dodge 1-1. Dodge 1-1 is tally on large group of Tangos, setting fire to civilian buildings at grid 38 Tango. Kilo November 944452. They just executed 4 Georgian soldiers. We're requesting permission to engage.
Dodge 1-1, Overlord, you are cleared hot. I repeat, cleared hot.
Return into engage, focusing on the executioners. I've got the high explosive rockets armed, and just trying to line up my shot.
Pull up, pull
I'm
up.
probably far off way too many rockets here, but I just really wanted to make sure that they didn't get away. I was kind of nervous whether they were going to try and make a run for it and I had to chase them through sort of mountainous valley here. But take out that initial group completely with the first pass and just double check that I got them all. And then I pan the TGP over to the trucks, where I see a bunch of other guys running for the trucks. And so at this point I'm getting again nervous that they're going to try and make a break for it, as I definitely would if an A-10 just went in for guns over my head. So I dive in. At this point I do get a bit confused. I thought I'd changed over to my other rockets, I in fact hadn't. And instead of messing around with that, I end up just deciding to go for guns. Still got the gun reticule on the rocket mode.
Pull up, pull up.
Managed to take out one of the trucks and a whole load of injured infantry in that pass. Turn around and go back in. At this point I've decided there are too many for just me, so I order my wing to engage as well. Sticking with the guns here, going in on the remaining truck. I spot an UAZ to engage it.
Altitude, altitude.
And the truck at the same time, and a bunch of unlucky infantry that were in the area. And just as I'm pulling up and away, 3 goes in for his rockets. It's a bit more restrained with his number of rockets, but gets some good hits there. Nicely you can see what all of the other planes are targeting with the head-mounted display. Really very useful. Here I've tracked an enemy with a TGP. Can't see him because he's on the other side of the tree. But I just target where I've laid the TGP pointer, and I managed to kill him and several others nearby. Meanwhile, I narrowly dodge friendly rockets there. And of course, it wouldn't be DCS without yet another AI issue. That was me actually shaking my head there, as number 2 has just ploughed into the mountainside. And again, I'm just kind of ignoring this. I'm happy to make a deal over friendly planes getting shot down, but not over the AI deciding that the best path out of this is straight into a mountainside. So most of the enemies have been taken out at this point. And just got this last UAZ. So all of my wing have rejoined at this point, so they're not spotting anything else, so I decide just to gather the wing and give the call that we've suppressed the village.
And Overlord Dodge 1-1, we are off the target back at the IP. All targets in the area splashed.
Dodge 1-1, Overlord. Roger that. You are cleared to RTV.
So it was all pretty straightforward mission there. Got some action, certainly multiple enemies on site, and yet even though the A-10's not the best suited for the kind of air combat or the kind of terrain that we have here, its weapon systems are certainly suited to this kind of fighting, where you just have plenty of enemies on the ground who can't really defend themselves. You just need something with an insane amount of ordnance just to rain hell down. So it was a lot of fun. In terms of how we did, our flight got 25 total ground kills during that, of which I got 19. That's because I went in first and made a lot more passes than the Allied flights did. But that includes 2 trucks, the captured Scout Cobra armoured car that they had, couple of UAZs, and the rest were various insurgents. All for the loss of one plane that decided to fly into a mountain. Again, not really counting that. So another fun mission. Really enjoyable campaign so far. Slowly seems to be warming up, but even these early missions I am really having a lot of fun using things like the time on target as something new, as something to kind of test me a bit, even though it's not really combat oriented. And fighting in the mountain range is really quite a lot of fun, even though the A-10's not exactly ideal for it. Anyway, that's all for today's episode. So next time we'll see what else this mission has for us. Until then, I hope you all remember to have fun while playing, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.